watching people leave when they get on stage.
Is this working? Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, it makes sense. Listen, we're going to let people move because not everybody watches these shows. So I get it. I mean, I did put on a bra and I can't breathe, but that's fine. Thank you. Is it giving show enough? Because that was the goal. Is it giving show enough? Okay. Shout out to Rainbow, because that's definitely where this shirt came from. Listen. We love a rainbow. Is my outfit flammable? Very much so.
Why don't you do a set right now?
Hmm?
Why don't you do a set right now?
Listen. Girl, Moses didn't have this many niggas leave when they crossed the Red Sea.
It's fine. We have people out in the front. This
Listen.
is exciting.
Thank you.
Now it works.
Not leaving from the front. You niggas is rude. You could have gone that way. That's because they ain't got Netflix. That's what that was. They ain't got Netflix. They ain't never seen a K-drama. Kamsamnida. How y'all doing? Thank y'all so much. So listen, I did have a conversation. So I came here last year. I was doing shows at the Arlington Draft House, and I'm friends with Thought Squad. And shout out to Thought Squad. And she was like, hey, I'm at BlerDCon. I'm like, you're at what? She's like, BlerDCon. I was like, tell me more. She was like, Black Nerds. I was like, I'm there in 10 minutes. And so I got here and I saw the Janelle Monáe panel, and I met her before, but I'm friends with Thought Squad. And I met Hilton. And so I started this podcast a couple of months later, and I was like, oh, because there was an article that I was a part of talking about how popular Korean dramas are with Black women and the Black community. And I was just like, oh, we have to talk about this at BlerDCon. And Hilton was like, what? Did I miss something? Did I miss something in Black nerddom? And I said, yes, sir, you did. But don't worry, I will help you. And so me and Christina Choi, so shout out to Chrissy.
It's Chrissy, my stage name.
Oh, yes, her stage name is Chrissy Choi. I don't have one. Crazy. And so, but we had met at a...
So we met in 2018 at a Diane von Furstenberg event. Do you guys know Diane von Furstenberg, the designer? Yeah. Random event. It was like a work thing. It was a work thing for her.
It was a celebration of the wrap dress. And if you are built like me, a wrap dress
is
the
not
best
the
thing
celebration
ever.
of the wrap dress.
They gave a wrap dress an award.
It wasn't. It was the DVF Awards for humanitarian, like.
Right, and they also was like, also this bitch made the wrap dress. Like that was the only reason I was in there. Because I had to go find a wrap dress to wear this.
You know who was honored that year?
Who?
Anita Hill.
Really?
Yeah. It was like a whole thing. Anyways,
I was not paying attention, obviously.
So what happened? So we were there. What happened?
So we're there, and I'm bored to fucking tears. Everything is white. The people, everything is white. And so the furniture, I'm like, I'm trapped in a night, and just trapped in a snowstorm. And so I'm looking for anybody who looks like me, and I see a Black woman I've never met, and Christina standing next to her, and I was like, a Black woman and a Korean woman, boom, I'm over here. And so I just, because you know, as Black people, we're like, Black person, hi, and we just hold on for dear life. And I started talking to her, and then we randomly started talking about
K-dramas.
K-dramas.
She knew so much. She's like talking, like she's speaking, and like she's talking about like Korean traditional dramas, right? Like sageuk dramas from like the Chosun period. And she knew all these words. She kept on saying these things. I was like, who is this person? This is insane. I knew it from The Daily Show, but I was like, this is insane. So we were chatting, and then like I remembered her, and then I guess this was like almost a year ago.
Yeah, so like every comedian, I had to get a podcast.
So I've been wanting to kind of do this podcast for a while, and then the first person I thought of as a co-host was Dulcé, just because I wanted to bring representation in the K-drama space, right? And I knew that it was really popular, especially for women of color, black female fans as well. So I was just like, yeah, so I hit her up.
Well, because like this is actually my third podcast.
Yes.
Because I had one called That Black Ass Show, and Spotify was like, you didn't get enough people to download it. And I'm like, you didn't tell me that that was a requirement. And so I got rid of that. And then me and Josh Johnson had one.
Yeah.
And just to let you know how crazy this industry is. So we thought the podcast was doing well, and then we had a meeting with iHeart, and they said that, well, the podcast wasn't doing well because only 500,000 people had listened to it. And then I hung up on that bitch. I said to her, you're not going to tell me 500,000 people doing anything is not success. Y'all have a good day. And then I got off the call. And Josh was like, you hung up? I said, yeah, I got to go make money. Fuck her. I'm not doing this. And they're like, you needed to get 20,000 downloads. You were only getting 12. I said, again, bitch, you didn't tell me this is a requirement. So I'm going to go. I got to go make money. So my friends had been telling me, because I tried to talk to my friends about it, and they're like, what are you talking about? Why do you know what this is? And how did you get into this? And so I was like, okay, well, I need another podcast because every comedian does, and I'm not a white man, so I can't bitch about women all day. And so, or, be a Trump supporter. So I'm like, what would I talk about on a podcast? And so I was like, fuck, I need a podcast. And then she emailed me, and I had not talked to you since 2018.
Yeah, and I didn't think she remembered. It was a complete cold email, but it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. So my background, I'm a podcast producer.
She worked at Spotify. I should have called her and been like, hey, can you kick my numbers up? These white folks are yelling at me.
I used to work at Spotify, I worked at Audible, and then I was at Bad Robot before this. But I just wanted to do something on my own. And oftentimes when I would pitch ideas, especially for, people who look like us, it's tough, right? So at this point, I was like, you know what? Podcasting is blowing up, especially video podcasting. I just kind of want to do this on my own. So this is how this got started. We're completely independent. We're indie. We launched in February 2025. So it's been slightly over a year. It's been amazing. We've had such a good time. You got it?
I don't know how to get in.
Yeah. We've had such a fun, amazing time doing this show, and we have an amazing fan base as well. We have a fan club called the Sarangies. Yay! Yay!
Are there Sarangies here?
Yay! We're so excited. Thank you so much for coming. But anyways, we wanted to do this panel when, Dulcé reached out saying, we got to do this thing called BlerDCon. So she told me all about it.
And I came last year, and it was amazing. And so I had two of my friends who were opening for me, and I brought them. And one of them, he had been to like different Comic-Cons, and literally this grown man was in tears going through like the merch area because he was like, do you know how many cons I have to go to get this much materials and items from Black creators? And so I went through, I bought shit. I bought a book. I don't know what it's about. I was like, Black man, here's money. Like, me and him together spent like $500 just walking through and being like, you, money. I have a poster I've never looked at. Like, I just walked through and was like, and I was like, Lord, whose stuff should I buy? And it was just boom, 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 boom. Shout out to the young lady with the bonnet repair booth, because she's doing real work here. And I brought my good bonnet with me, but I was like, if I don't know if I have time to see the young lady because I can't ask her to put this much work in. I might just need to get a new bonnet. And so it's amazing to be here and see so many Black creators and just y'all, and just to see that we do not care about a copyright at all. I've never seen Sailor Moon with an afro, Sailor Moon with locks, Sailor Moon. Please don't let Sanrio in this bitch. Like, it's just. And Hilton was like, 30% change is not a problem. I'm like, I can see that. These niggas bring the posters in this bitch. But I was so excited to bring this here because for so long, I didn't have anyone else to talk to about watching these shows. And so when Chrissy asked me, she was like, how did you get into this? And so I grew up in Atlanta. You're welcome. And Atlanta actually has the third largest Korean population in the country. Because someone has to sell us all that hair. And annyeonghaseyo. And so I grew up in Gwinnett County, and so it had a very large Korean population. Her parents actually have a house in Gwinnett because she grew up in South Carolina.
Yes. And South Carolina. Woo!
But just can you tell them what your parents do?
What do you think my parents do, y'all? They sell hair. They sell hair. So I grew up in the beauty supply industry my entire life. So
she earned it the right way. We speak the same language, okay? She earned it right. She's met Black people before, thank God. And so, because she can't, I mean, honestly, with the beauty supply store, we're the only ones you knew. And so, we started and so I started talking to her, but since Atlanta has such a large Korean population, Atlanta has a Korean TV station. And so the same way there's like 2 Spanish channels and a Korean station, and I'm just flipping through TV. I'm like 15 or 16, and I find this show called Bluebird. And it had English subtitles on it. And I was like, I don't know what's happening, but TV turns off at some point. It's 1997. So, and I just started, and I got really into them at that point. And then as I got older, there were different websites. You know, like Hulu started showing them. There was Drama Fever, R.I.P. Drama Fever. Viki was the first streaming service I ever paid for. Because I was like, I'm not downloading these torrents. I'm not fucking my computer up. My mama would kill me. So, but I was in college. Fuck they computers. I'm downloading anything I want in this bitch. Brunel University can fix it. And so when I started working and being more successful in the industry, I would be in meetings like with Amazon and Netflix and Hulu, and they would ask me, well, what do you watch? What shows are you watching? And I'm like, Korean dramas. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so they couldn't understand why I was watching them. They couldn't understand how important they were. And now 10 years later, Netflix is not only destroying multiple industries, but in the same way that Netflix is messing up the TV industry in America, it's also messing up the TV industry in Korea. And so from people who 10 years ago had never heard of these shows to now be flooding so much money into the Korean TV market that you're destroying their system the way you did here is very interesting. But now there's so many more people and it's so much more accessible. Right. So now you don't have to be in the back of the internet getting all kind of VPNs and shit trying to watch a TV show.
So that was our first question. So I was going to ask you what your first K-drama was. So it's Bluebird, right?
And it was a family drama. And that's when I found out that there was a point in Korean history, like years ago, where you could have 2 wives if you could afford it. There's so many men out here trying to have a second wife that can't afford it, and that's rude. And sorry, you can't keep her if you can't afford her. And so the main conflict on the drama was the youngest daughter hated the second wife, and no one told her that was actually her mom. Right. And so
everyone's like, ooh.
Because the first wife at a certain point couldn't have kids anymore, the second wife shows up with this child because the husband had cheated, and then brings the second wife, and he's like, well, technically, I can do this. This is my mistress. She gonna live here now with this baby. And the way the daughter hated the second wife and thought it destroyed her family, and that, mind you, she was 35. And one day she was just laying into this lady, and they were less like, that's your mama. You want more rice? Like, this was just really, they're like at dinner, and they're like, hey, you want some more kimchi? Like, and she is, and then so the rest of the drama is her dealing with the fact that they lied to her for years, and she's been so mean to this woman, and this woman always been so nice to her, and come to find out it was her on my knee. So, I mean, that's the other reason that I like these shows, because the writing is good.
Yes.
It's so good. It's someone I've been seeing lately on TikTok where just like there's been, so black people are showing their Korean friends Tyler Perry. And there's a video I saw where this man is showing, this black dude is showing his Korean friend the movie Diary of a Mad Black Woman. And so it's when she gets kicked out, and he looks at her, and the Korean dude looks at the black friend and goes, she's going to get revenge, right? And he goes, watch the rest of the movie. And so somebody else on TikTok was just like, holy shit, has Tyler Perry been making Korean dramas the entire time? And nobody fucking told us. Because I found him in 97 on a Korean TV channel in Atlanta, and he used to live in Atlanta in the 90s. So all I'm saying is, shout out to KTN. Did I just crack the code to Tyler Perry?
I think you did. I think you may have. This is why everyone loves it so much. My first Korean drama, because I grew up watching them because I'm Korean, duh.
No.
So this is what my parents, my grandmother watched. I moved from California to South Carolina when I was 8, so I had a huge culture shock at that point. So I remember the one thing that I kind of really held on to was connecting through my roots through these dramas and through K-pop to music, right? So it's something that I held on to really deeply. But I thought about what my first drama that I ever remember was. It's a lovely drama. It's called Model. It came out in 1997, and it's about a fashion designer who decides to step on the runway. We should, yeah, it's a really good show. It's like 36 episodes, and there's everything, every single trope. There's backstabbing, there's amnesia, like there's everything that you could actually possibly think of in a trope. It's in that drama. I'm trying to find it so we can potentially rewatch it, but I think people should check it out. It's called Model. It's an amazing show. So
wait, who here? Like y'all all watch Korean dramas, right?
Woo!
So have y'all been watching them for a while, or is somebody watching their very first drama right now?
A while.
Okay. So how did y'all start watching it? Was it like Netflix or Hulu?
Drama Fever.
So Drama Fever, R.I.P. Drama Fever. Wait, what? I'm sorry?
The local channel
Okay,
in Hawaii.
I was in Hawaii with a young man. And I'm going to tell you, there's like 2 Korean channels in Hawaii. And what's so funny is that he was flipping through the stations, and this was recently, so I don't even know why we were able to flip through stations. But what kind of TV this man had. And so he came up on the Korean station, and it was a historical drama.
Yeah.
But it was so much, it was very, very old.
So,
and I've watched so many of them that I was watching them going, oh, this is like I was like, oh, this is the 3 Kingdoms Koryo Shila period. And he goes, what are you talking about? And I was like, shut up. The Koreans are talking. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and is the prince really going to marry the princess, or he's going to get killed?
So I think even starting in the early 90s, these dramas were aired in predominantly Korean areas. So obviously Los Angeles being one, that was definitely played. I forget the channel, but they have several channels right now in LA. Hawaii for sure, Atlanta, New York, and I'm sure other places. But I think a lot of people back in the day, that's how they really got their introduction. It's just literally flipping through the channel when you're bored and you're checking it out. Do you guys, I have a question for you guys too. Like, do you guys like the fact that these streamers are coming in and it's easily available? Like you could access things better? Is that, or, okay. Yeah. Because I think it's like, the fact that they're spending, like at least Netflix, they've been spending over $1 billion in just building out more dramas and all their, like Netflix Korea. And then I know that we have a bunch of stuff coming out on Disney Plus as well, because they're investing a lot as well. So I'm always curious about that, because I think for us, as we're doing this podcast, I get overwhelmed, to be honest, because there's so much, right? There's so many new shows constantly coming out. And, I think several fans, like a lot of people manage to watch them all at once. I used to be able to do that, not as much right now because of this podcast, because you have to kind of like focus and I have to like produce stuff. But it's really, really interesting though. And I'm very, very curious to see what happens to this world in like a couple years,
Well, it makes me wonder, like, if there's going to be like if there's going to be where we kind of hit like just the critical mass, because it's like so there was one of my favorite shows I ever watched was called I Hear Your Voice. Thank you.
It's
so
I
hear you. Listen, it's on, I just saw it pop up on Netflix. I think it's like a 2015 drama.
Yeah, it's really good.
And I remember berating my 2013, 2015. And just like coming at I was like, girl, I just watched this show, and they're like, ugh, another one of these shows. Okay, tell me about it. And so basically, there is a young man who can read minds. And long story short, his father is murdered, and when he is a child, and so there was a while when they were doing the Nuna dramas. So it was just like, the Maid of December with a young man, older woman. And so he starts falling in love with this lawyer. And then the man who killed his father goes on trial. And so he's now having to come to testify. And he's sitting in court. And the murderer realizes that he can read minds. So the murderer is sitting in the courtroom going, I know you can hear me. I know you can hear me. I killed your dad, and I'm going to get away with it. Ha, 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 ha. But he's just sitting there quiet. And so he's losing his fucking mind, and the lawyer's like, what's happening? I'm like, you don't know what he's saying to me. And so, and not to mention them trying not to fall in love. And so I love the writing of them, because I guess I've been trying to figure out, like, there was this article that came out, like, in the Washington Post that a Korean-American woman, she wrote, and she was trying to figure out why these dramas are so popular among Black women especially. And a lot of the main consensus was like, one, you're not watching white people fall in love. And you're actually seeing people fall in love. And also, you're seeing men fall in love. Because that's my main thing. Like on American TV, you see a woman fall in love and then you see a man pursue a person. And so you never see the emotions of the man. You see the woman's emotions in a man's actions.
Bridgerton. Except Bridgerton.
Now Bridgerton, and that's a full fucking fantasy.
So much longing. So much longing. I love it.
I mean, Bridgerton brought back yearning. I'm also waiting for them to do a classical version of Nuck If You Buck. Like, that's what I'm really waiting for. I want to, okay, Selena, I want to, listen, where's a classical cumbia? You know what I mean? Where is Lil Jon over, well, one of his songs actually does have a violin, so they've already done the work for you. But I guess I wanted to ask y'all, because, like, I thought that was not, like, that's the reason, because, like, my mom, she likes to watch them.
Yeah.
Because she was just like, she's like, I like watching them because it take like 6 episodes just for them to hold hands. But it's like, so because like we want to know, because it's like, I feel like sometimes I'm like speaking into a void. But like, is that one of the reasons that y'all like, because like, well, I didn't know what we were going to be. I mean, I'm very interactive. I like talking to an audience. I literally do it for a living. But is that one of the reasons that y'all like watching the shows? It's just like you get to see love.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Girl, I was watching one of the dramas. It was Choi Lawyer, and he was bawling, crying about his parents being dead, and I realized I was smiling. And I didn't realize I was smiling. I was like, oh, I'm smiling because this man is crying. Is this man processing an emotion? Whoa. Never seen it. Never seen it. So, okay, that was something. I thought it was just me. It's just like, yes, you get to see a man. Also, you get to see a man excited to talk to a woman he likes.
Yes. And they're so giddy, and then it's like. Did you say male bodies? Yes.
Here, there's a microphone up here if y'all want to come up to the microphone.
So women aren't sexualized, but men are, because we get gratuitous shower scenes. Yes.
I can't say one of the shower scenes that I hate the most.
Can you talk about this? Please talk about it.
Was this in Queen of Tears, or was it from?
It was My Love from Another Star.
My Love from Another Star, and there was the guy, but it was the dude.
It's Kim Soo-yeon.
It's Kim Soo-yeon, who's from Queen of Tears. Also, doing this podcast from her has finally given me the courage to say Korean names out loud. Because I'm always worried about, because I speak Spanish, I'm always worried about like pronunciation and fucking something up. I don't know if you want to say something wrong, all of a sudden somebody gonna show up, so I don't want to have no problems. But there's this shower scene in My Love from Another Star, which is also now on Netflix. And you see him, and there's water. He's in a shower, and then there's water, and then he's wearing a fucking towel. And I'm like, you didn't need to pan down. You didn't need to let me know he's wearing a shower. He's wearing a towel in the shower.
So
I'm seeing water drip. Like, we could have kept the modesty, and I'm now well, this is just stupid. Why is he? Now he's wearing a wet towel. What the fuck is the point of this?
Well, you know, he played an alien.
I know he played an alien.
But what if, like, I mean, I don't know. Probably, I don't know. Maybe, like, they were trying to hide the alien
want people
parts.
to know. Listen.
I'm kidding.
But he was an alien in a human body. He was a humanoid alien on some Star Trek shit. So maybe the parts are set up.
Okay. So, okay, yeah. Men are sexualized more, absolutely, which is, we don't really see that in, nowadays.
I mean, sexiest man of the year situation, and they won't just give it to Idris Elba every year. So, question. Hello.
I will also say I like that they do a lot more, even if it's not meant to be, a lot more gender bending and like queer storylines. Like,
yes.
I don't know if you've seen Girl King. That was one of the most transcoded shows that I've ever seen in my life. Like, she literally goes to the bathroom and forgets she doesn't have a penis, because it's a dude that like ends up in a girl's body, and then she gets really drunk and wants to go to the bathroom, but she's in the men's room and she forgets she doesn't have a penis.
Yeah.
And she's just standing there like, ah, shit. And the guy's so confused, but it's so like transcoded and it's very queer. And I don't know if they always mean it to be, but they have a lot more storylines like that.
Did you ever watch Coffee Prince?
No.
Yes. So Coffee Prince, it came out 2007, I think. 2007, 2008. What was interesting about that show was they all thought the female character was a man, and you're just like, what? But I love that point because it's absolutely true. And, you know, oddly enough, when we talk about Korean culture, you know, homosexuality and like differences, right? They're still very culturally, it's very conservative. So watching it, I would always be I found it so interesting how they would create these like these storylines that were so unusual and that kind of oftentimes, kind of poked at or like made it controversial in a way. But again, culturally, if you look at the society, everyday Korean people aren't talking about that kind of stuff. So I just found that so fascinating. But I love that point. It's great.
Well, did y'all see Mr. Queen? So I love this scene in Mr. Queen because so basically, if you haven't seen Mr. Queen, the premise is that a very famous chef, because if you know about water in Korea, there's going to be some type of shift. There's going to be every Korean actor has to know how to swim, apparently, because you're going to end up in a body of water on some show, and you're going to be falling into oblivion until somebody swims to save you. And so this man, he's trying to escape, I guess, the mob, falls into this pool, and then gets transported back to the 1600s in the Chosun era into the body of the queen. And so there's a scene where, so he's now the new queen. So this is a modern day man who's like, one of those like celebrity chefs who's now in the body of the queen. And there's one episode about her getting her period. But it's a man experiencing. The actress is amazing because you're not seeing a man process getting a period. And then they keep telling him he's going to have to get pregnant. And he's like, wait, what? And so the king keeps trying to touch him, and at one point he's like, I'm not gay. And she's like, what? He's like, what? Never, I gotta go. And so, right, so Mr. Queen is just like him kind of processing like, oh, I'm a woman now. And so he tries to go, so yeah, that's what she was saying, Mr. Queen, because like he goes to pee, and he's like,
There's another movie too. I don't think it was something else.
Well,
I'm forgetting.
Secret
Garden was kind of
switch.
like that too, because they switch and they have that reaction. There was another. It's like an old school. Anyways, it's a movie, but I can't
say, like there's so many.
There's so many.
There's so many shows where like especially like or if you're like said in like the Chosun era, where a woman is dressing up like a man to get revenge on her family. It's usually for revenge.
Yeah.
She either has to run away or she's trying to get revenge.
There's so many. Like Song Kyung-gun scandal with Park Min-young was that.
Yes.
She had to like, that was such a cute one. That was adorable.
There's always that one was. Oh, I watched that one. There's always one where somebody has to dress up. Usually in the past, somebody has to dress up like a man, a real Mulan situation. But because Queen Sonduk was the same thing where she had to. But what I do love about the drama is that whenever you have the one where the woman is where someone has to, especially when a woman's disguising herself as a man. There's always a moment where a man starts falling in love with her, even though she's dressed as a man.
Yes.
And then all of the men are going, but this is a man, right?
But then there's always like his friend falls in love too. You're just like, so you have two men falling in love with like a potential,
Yes, so but there's still like a second lead somehow, and they're just like, I know that I'm not, but there's just something about, and then it's like it ends up being a woman. I'm like, hey, this is cheating. Just fall in love with a man.
Oh, we have another person.
Oh, hello.
Hi, yes. I haven't seen many K-dramas, but since we are on the topic of queerness, I do want to bring out. Don't yell at me. This isn't considered a K-drama.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah.
Season 2 of Squid Games, we did have a actual trans character. Do you believe the popularity of that show and how it brought in a lot of cultures nationally was the reason why they were able to get away with having an actual trans character? I haven't seen any trans characters in any of the K-dramas I've watched.
Yes. Yeah. And the director has spoken about that. And basically people have, in like the Western, I think, media had asked him, hey, why did you have a heterosexual man, right, do this role? And he was like, there's no representation in Korea. Like it was really, really hard to cast. So that was definitely something that was brought up. But yeah, even that was shocking to see. I mean, Squid Game as a whole, I was just like,
I didn't watch it.
It took my breath away just watching it. Like I think and I don't know how traditional Korean drama fans feel, but it was so different. It just felt like a Korean movie because to me, Korean movies are very different from K-dramas, right? Korean movies are super edgy, like Old Boy. You're sitting there, you're like, what the actual F is happening? Anyways. But
I couldn't watch Squid Game. Once I saw how scary, I don't do scary. And my friends were like, because somebody was telling me Korean horror movies are insane.
Insane, yeah. It's insane.
Because one of my friends was like, I was like, well, why? Because one of my friends, he's like, I don't watch Korean stuff. He said, but I watch the horror movies. And I said, why? He said, because the thing about Korean horror movies is he said they make shit scary that could actually happen. He said that's why they're so scary, because you're just like, oh, this is a feasible fucking thing. Because, like, if you watch, like, American horror movies, you're like, this is goofy, right? Like, no one's doing this. Also, we've had 147 Saw movies. Like, has he not sawed? Is the Home Depot empty? Like, how is he? This man's out at fucking power tools, right? I didn't watch any of those. I don't do scary movies. But, like, my friend was like, the thing about he's like, the thing about Korean horror movies, he's like, they get in your mind. And I was like, nah, dog, that's crazy. I don't need that. Life is scary. I'm a woman walking around. I don't need to be like, I'm already like this all the fucking time. I don't need it with subtitles.
I know.
It'll read my fear. That's crazy.
Yes.
Hello, friend.
Hi, friend. So I am a film production major.
Ooh.
And I love K-dramas and anime and all the things above. So what is some advice that you have to, like, someone who's Black and not of that culture, you know, wanting to, like, make and produce K-dramas and anime and stuff like that?
Oh, man.
So, I don't know if you know about this. There is an entire Nigerian K-drama.
How does
So
that
you're like a
work?
Nollywood situation. So the entire cast is Nigerian.
But it's a K-drama?
They're speaking in Korean the entire movie.
But that don't count.
Have y'all seen this shit? It's on YouTube. Because there is so like I don't know. I did not know this because if you don't see if you don't live there, you don't know. But there is a large there's a Nigerian population like in China, and there's one in Korea as well. They come for work. And so it's a high school drama too, right? It's a high school drama. It's all Nigerian kids. They're all speaking Korean. It's insane. So if the Nigerians is doing, you fine.
In all
Just make
seriousness,
it.
to answer your question, I think if you wanted to do something, I think creating like like if you wanted to do an actual TV show, obviously it's like harder to start off. But what I've been seeing, which is fascinating, is do you know like Pocket FM, like audio dramas?
Oh, no.
Okay, so it's like an Indian company. So they have, my background is in podcasting. So things that I worked on audio dramas. It's very interesting about platforms like Pocket FM. Audible does this too. You are able, as just a regular person, like if you're starting out, you can upload. It's user-generated content. I think audio dramas is fascinating because if you think about it, it's a great way to get started, right? Because it's a little bit easier. Sound design is specific, but it's a great like art form to kind of experiment on before you go into like the big screen. So I would check out that, and maybe you can, as you start, write an audio drama and see if you can like get that off the ground running, because you have a massive fan base. It's very like people love these dramas. They have like romance and they have like different genres. So that's something that you should just check out. I always tell people that because I think it's like a fascinating world that's just kind of like becoming more and more popular. So I'm learning more about it. And then in addition to that, it's short form dramas too. Short form dramas right now, like what is it?
The micro dramas, because I think
the micro dramas on Pocket, like it's a drama, like not Pocket, but a drama box all over TikTok. That's the new thing that Hollywood is like moving towards.
I think I just saw on the Hollywood. I don't know if it was Tay Diggs or somebody
Yeah.
just signed a deal with a major studio to do the micro dramas.
The micro dramas are fascinating because all that is basically you're taking tropes that you see in Asian dramas and you're just like whittling it down, and then you're just like literally pinpointing those like cliffhanger moments, and then you're going on to the next thing. But you should check those out too. It's like a very interesting thing that's growing in Hollywood. So
Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Of course. Thank you for coming. Thank y'all so much for coming. I feel like y'all don't understand like when what was it? Clubhouse? That craziness. When Clubhouse was out in these streets during the Roni, there was a Korean drama group that I had joined. Like it was on Twitter, and then but it was so. And then they ended it. There were so many people in it, and it was mostly Black women. And there were so many people in it that like the CEO of Vicky came on to this Clubhouse group and like had what was it, the talk or whatever the fuck we used it, a panel or whatever in the Clubhouse. But it's like truly just happy to be like to just hear other people talking about it. But just to let you know the power that we have, the CEO of Vicky came into a group to promote the site to us specifically. So I was very happy to be a part of that. At one point, I was like, I'm so happy I'm here. And they're like, yeah, great. So when are y'all getting this show? And I was like, all right, let me be quiet and be old. Let me sit back over here. But hello, friend. I love your skirt. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
I kind of have a thought and a question.
Ooh.
To jump back like 2 topics.
Love
When you
it.
were talking about like the second, like there's the main character who's dressed like a guy, and the second character falls in love with him, even dressed like that. My first thought was the series Hanakimi. There's a Korean version called To the Beautiful You, I believe.
To
Is
the
what
beautiful
title
you,
is.
yes.
That is immediately what I thought of. Because the second
that was
lead
yeah.
is like, I'm falling in love with a man. What's happening? And then he fully embraces it and then finds out she's a girl. And he's like, what is going on?
That must have broke his brain more because he didn't accept the fact that he was falling in love with a man and was just like, son of a bitch, this bitch is a bitch.
Literally, it goes from, that's a man, I can't fall in love with a man, to, am I falling in love with a man, to, I'm in love with a man, to, that's not a man.
It's the one about the K-pop group, right?
That's You're Beautiful. That's
You're Beautiful.
To
To the Beautiful You.
has
There's so many.
Sully from FX in it, and Minho from Shiny.
Okay.
I would suggest it. But there's like 4 different versions: Korean, Japanese. Like there's 2 Japanese ones and a Chinese one.
This is a great story because they keep making it. I can't wait till the Filipinos get it.
It's based off a manga, and I've watched every iteration because it's acted a little differently. I would suggest watching it. My favorite version is the Japanese version.
Okay.
But I would watch any version that interests you. My second question was, what is your favorite like K-drama genre? I tend to watch a bunch of things like Baker King Kim Taku was one of them. It's an older one.
Yes.
I really love that one.
Uh-huh.
Considering it took half the show to even get to adult age. And then Bake Bread.
Yes.
And then I'll watch like You're Beautiful, which is another. She acts like her twin brother to be in a band.
Yeah.
And then
We love a twin.
And then
She makes notes.
Love a twin.
Her Private Life, which is another.
Oh
favorite
yes,
of mine.
Pangminyo.
Oh, I think I started her
Yeah.
private life.
It's so good. I love that one. I rewatch it all the time. But I watch a large variety of genres. So I was just wondering, what was your favorite? Because I think historical is probably one of your favorites.
I do love, I can say I do love a saguk drama. I'm saying this right?
Yep.
So scared.
Saguk.
I love a saguk drama. I think one of the main reasons I love a saguk drama because I like seeing people in the past that aren't white. Because every time we see something, like we never see our history, because even when they do like something, because we know our history. So it's just like, y'all can get, so much stuff happened before y'all enslaved my ancestors. Like so many things happened.
Yeah.
Like where's the Mansa Musa fucking, like could you imagine if there was a whole like Game of Thrones style fucking show about Mansa Musa? Like, do you understand, what was the city he came through to where was, what city was it? Timbuktu. So Mansa Musa, richest man in history, right? Comes through a city, bankrupts the shit, headed to Mecca, finds out it's bankrupt, and then comes back through and fixes the economy on the way home. Where is this fucking show?
Pitch it.
Listen, they got another Game of Thrones.
Wait, isn't HBO here? HBO Netflix?
You gotta trademark that.
No. There's a Mansa Musa, I think I saw this, a Mansa Musa anime. I'm excited about this. But yeah, one of the reasons I love the saguk dramas is that you get to see the past and it's not white people. One of the other reasons is that the women had a lot of say. It's like they had no say in the government, but they had so much influence in the government. So it's like, it's because the queen, think about it, the queen's brother was always the left state minister. Does anyone else here watch the historical ones?
I've watched some.
If you, listen, the king probably gonna get murdered.
Yeah.
And if he didn't get murdered, his daddy definitely got murdered. And if his uncle, because here's the thing that's always fucked up, his biggest rival is always his uncle. Or his son. So it's the brother, but his main rival is the uncle, which is always his mom's brother, older or younger. And it's always better when the uncle is the younger brother. Because then his mom or her grandma has listen, Debbie Mama is my favorite fucking person in these shits. But also what I realized that I watched them for so long is that the Korean in the older dramas is different than the Korean and the younger drama, as in newer dramas, as in like
in Tagalog they're using traditional
right,
older
very
Korean
traditional
words,
Korean, and there's like no English in it.
Like it's hard for me sometimes. Like I have to read some of the subtitles because it's not like everyday Korean. Right?
No.
Yeah. So.
Which is interesting for me because like if you're a person who actually like cause you speak Korean, and it's interesting for you because you are really watching them going, oh, there's words I don't know. Because the language has progressed so much.
Right. And I think even we talked about this on the show, but I think in the past like 10 years, like I think Korean, the language itself, the evolution of it is like frightening. So they come up with new slang words. So what they end up doing is they'll have one word and they just like mush it together. So when you hear young people, and then sometimes I feel like dramas are still a little bit behind, so they don't mix it as much. But when they start adding slang in, I have to sit there and I have to go, okay, like exactly like what are they saying? I have to use like context clues. But it's fascinating, like how quickly language changes in Korea.
Because even as someone who doesn't speak Korean, I can still hear Korean.
Yeah, because they talk a lot faster now. I think that's the biggest tell. The intonation's different. It's faster. Younger people speak very fast in Korea.
Well, they talk faster, which means them subtitles are going back faster. Which means I might not know what happened in this scene. I might have to rewind and go, what the fuck did he just say? Somebody always drinking a coffee or eating a sandwich.
And was your question what was our favorite K-dramas?
Favorite genre.
My favorite genre is the Saguk dramas because I like the palace intrigue.
Yep.
I like because also with the older ones, there's also a couple different storylines kind of going at the same time. So it's just like whatever the main thing is, and then in the background, there's a dowager queen having some shit going down, and then the uncle over here trying to take over, and then somebody's trying to kill the uncle, but the uncle knows about it, but the uncle ain't gonna let you catch him slipping like that. So I like the fact that I like the pacing is a little slower on the older dramas. Also, the Saguk dramas tend to have more episodes. Because like the first one I really watched was Queen Sundok, and that was 60 episodes. And like that was a show that let me know I'm fucking hooked because I remember watching them, and then I was like, I was just watching, and then I saw the sun start coming up, and I'm like, oh, it's Wednesday. I have to go to work, and so the sun came up, and then I had to get dressed and go to work. Because I got so caught up in it that I did not remember to go to bed. Also, this is a streaming service. You can turn this off. You can go to bed. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
I think my favorite genre is I stick towards romance. And I thought about this a lot when I was prepping for this, like why I like a lot of the teen dramas. And I think it's honestly because growing up, I didn't really see myself or like, in teen dramas, right? I watched a lot of WB. Like, there are no Asian people in WB, you know what I mean? So I would watch this stuff and I would be like, oh, but then when I would watch K-dramas, I would see how they're really attractive, like Korean men. Oh my gosh, like the Korean guy likes a Korean girl. So for me, I think that's why even till this age, I love those cutesy romance dramas because it's like, it's like a fantasy and you kind of want to get into that. So I like that. And then I like honestly, the psychological thrillers that has been like a newer thing. I feel like they're investing a lot more. Like I loved like Sky Castle, The Glory, like and then 9 Puzzles on Disney Plus. It's a very, very dark
Misty
murder.
was mine.
Misty was good too. Yeah.
But like Misty was the show that had me like in meetings. Like I was trying to figure out. I was trying to get one of my homegirls, my other auntie, to help me to be like, how do we get rights to these shows and remake them in America? Because Good Doctor was actually a Korean drama.
Yes.
That they remade for the American audience.
It's a good drama.
So I was sitting on the phone with my manager being like, who do we call? So I was trying to meet with the guy from Vicky and be like, how do we get the rights to these shows to remake them in America? And then Netflix just bought all the fucking dramas. And I'm like, well, I can't remake Misty now. Netflix owns it. But I don't think they know what they got. So I feel like I'd be like, hey, because I had a friend that works at Netflix, like, Nick, let me talk to these people over at Netflix, see if I can make this show. But thank you so much for your question.
Thank you.
Yay! Okay, come on, outfit. What I do love is the amount of body I'm seeing on women while I'm here.
Hi. It's more of a statement. So when I was young, I watched like telenovelas, but like the Spanish ones.
Telemundo.
But like, I feel like Chinese and Korean dramas, they're more fleshed out. So like,
Yes.
The acting is
drawn back to where it feels more realistic.
Yeah, a
And-
telenovela is a cartoon.
Exactly. And it just, you can place yourself in a Korean drama or a Chinese drama. Even if it's fantasy, you can still sort of see how you could be this character. With a telenovela or even an American drama, it's like, okay, I don't see myself in any of these characters.
No.
And that's how I personally got obsessed with Korean dramas, because I was just like, I could be that girl. Like, I think I
that's
am
so
that
amazing.
girl.
That's so interesting. I love that because I think that's why I like the historical ones, because I'm seeing Debbie Mama sit there and just really make real choices about people's lives.
I would definitely be a queen dowager, and
Listen to Debbie Mama. Listen, Dowager Queen. That bitch is running everything in the building, but yet nothing at all. And I think that's so interesting because I've never been able to articulate why I like that so much, because I was like, it's funny to look at people that don't look like you and see yourselves. And I don't know any, and I've been trying to figure out the best way to articulate this, but that's exactly how I feel. Like, even though these other people don't look like me, it is more realistic to me to be in a Chosun era Debbie Mama drama than to be on Friends. Like, that makes more sense.
Well, I also think a lot of the themes that K-drama writers do really well is those like universal themes. So they're really good at describing or showing feelings that all humans feel.
Yes.
You know, like there's emotion, there's like, I think like Korean culture is a bit repressed at times because of our historical, we were colonized by the Japanese in the early 1900s. There's like a lot of things that happen to make us have a lot of feelings. There's this like joke we often talk about. It's called the K-rage. It's literally Korean people are rageful. So like we're easy to anger. It's like a whole thing. But I feel like there's such a wide variety of emotions that we are able to tap into. And I think this is why people really like K-dramas, and that's why you can see yourself as the character. Dulcé could be a queen dowager, and I think that is what is so special about Korean shows. I think Chinese shows do this as well. They really do. So,
we were talking about, like, on one episode of the podcast, she was talking about the Han.
Yes.
And so if you're a black person of a certain age, you remember, like, especially in the 90s, we would always talk about, the struggle. And it was this very specific term. Where we're just like, we all out here in the struggle. And so she was talking about the Han. And I was like, what does that mean? And she said, it means the struggle. And I was like, what?
I was like, it's a very different type of struggle. But yeah, I mean, if you think about Korean history, the reason why in the 1900s, Japan, they've always bothered us. Japan and China, our entire history.
If you
like,
watch
all
these historical
dramas,
you find out that China and Japan have been invading Korea since years had 3 numbers.
Right. So it's like a small country. We're like the shrimp, right? We were stuck between the small shrimp stuck between the 2 big powers. And what happened was, after the colonization happened in the 1900s, then the Korean War happened, right? Everyone lost absolutely everything. And then we had to start all over again in the 50s and 60s. And it was during the 60s and 70s where it was just like a massive, and when you lose everything, right, guys, you guys understand this. When you lose everything, it's like all bets are off. And this is why, like, my grandmother, my parents' generation, that's why with like immigrant children, like, they're like, you gotta do this, you gotta be a lawyer, you gotta be a doctor, because they have so much of that Han within themselves, right? This shows up in these dramas constantly as a theme. So I think this is why, probably for people of color who have experienced this, or like immigrants, like, these are themes that are all so universal and so powerful. And so this is why, like, people like it. But anyways, yeah.
That's good. Hello, friend.
So I've been watching K-dramas since I was in like middle school, like Vicky era type, when it was free, when you didn't have to pay and you got the ads. But I was wondering, with the like more diversity in K-pop being seen now, and also diversity even in K-dramas in terms of like having people with more disabilities, or having people who are like autistic, do you think that we're gonna see more of that in the future, not only with like more diversity of people, but also more diversity specifically from like South Asia?
I think we have a responsibility. So I think for me, as a Korean American, again, I grew up here, I was born here, so it's very different, my experience. But I see a lot of discourse, right, about K-dramas and K-pop because there's so much international fandom that's happening. And I think it's really, really important for Korea to really see this. They're investing so much money, they're making so much money off of these international markets. So for me, I really want Korean folks to really think about this, like what you're saying. There should be more representation beyond, like, there's a lot of immigration happening right now in Korea as we speak, right, from these Southeast Asian countries. I really think that it is imperative that these folks are in these dramas, or like they're written in a way where their experiences are explained, because dramas are powerful. It influences Korean culture, right, and like, international culture clearly, but I think it is very, very important to be inclusive, and I really hope that we get to that point. But historically, Korea is very homogenous. Every time I go back, there's a joke, my dad and I was studying abroad. My dad had to drop me off. He dropped me off at the airport, so we landed in Chun Airport. And my dad's like looking for his brother, my uncle. And then we get there, and then we look at the crowd, and it's just like Asian, it's just literally all Korean people. And my dad turns to me, he's like, "Oh my God, I can't tell anyone apart." And then we like laugh, and he's like, "I've been in America so long, I just like can't tell them apart." So that's what Korea is. So it is oftentimes like I have to like think about that because a lot of social change is happening. So I think it is, again, if we want to be a leader, and I don't want to say we, because again, I'm Korean American, it's a little bit different, but I think Korea, if they want to be the true leader in international content, they're going to have to make changes, and I think it's so important. So I wish, like, there's a lot of like, I would say Korean American actors, not even Korean American, but Korean Canadian or Korean Australian actors who are K-pop singers who are from these areas, who grew up, in a diverse culture. I think it's their responsibility to be able to like educate and share these ideas within. So yeah, I'm gonna get off my soapbox, but I think it's really, really important to do that.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Listen, thank you so much. Thank you for the work.
Oh, thank you so much.
Wonderful.
My girlfriend's a huge fan of yours, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Hello.
Yeah,
Hi.
I go by Hero. I write short stories on Instagram and TikTok under Never Ending Narratives. But I just wanted to give a shout out to a Korean drama called King's Avatar. It's more about gamers and their life in Korea versus actual. There's been a lot of shout outs for romance, but I wanted to say that there's great storytelling in that one as well. But it's more like on like being in esports. But my question though to you, ma'am, is I don't know if this is true. This is just what I heard. But Korea seems to be at the end game right now of capitalism. It's one of the most expensive places on earth to live. Also, the population decline is in crisis. They're saying that Korea is very futuristic as a foretelling of America due to birth control and low population growth. How do you think Korea will overcome that and not vanish as far as a culture?
Well, because of the B4 movement the genius of the B4 movement is that
4B movement.
4B? Is it 4B?
4B.
I'm sorry. I keep flipping that around, and I don't know wrong because I know that it's either way I say it, I think I'm going to be wrong. So because of the 4B movement, a lot of women, a large number of Korean in women Korea, are just like, we're not going to continue to be mistreated. And so that is a reason for the population decline. One of the reasons.
Yes.
One of the many reasons. But
I think
there's so many things that are going on.
So the 4B movement, when you speak to I think it's something that the international community has really held on to. There have been a lot of articles on CNN.
Right.
But if you talk to everyday, so I've actually spoken to like my cousins about this and people, and I've asked them, I'm like very curious, like what are your thoughts on the 4B movement? And they said, it's not very mainstream. So again, it's like everyday Koreans. I think that could be a factor.
It's probably money more than anything.
It's money. It's money. There's a disparity, and absolutely capitalism, since the growth of like the 60s, 70s, and 80s, what Korea has become today, it's been ruthless. And I think that the country itself, I don't know if you guys, we'd have to go into the history of this, but basically in 1997, there was a huge thing called the IMF crisis where we were bailed out, right? Korea was bailed out. There's a lot of dramas about it. And since then, I think
Undercover Miss Hong that I'm watching right now
she's about
is about
that.
it.
And what was it? Typhoon Family. That was
Love
another
that
one
show.
recently about that. But I think what happened is, I think the themes of what's happening in America is also very relevant to Asia as well, right? We're seeing this. There's a disparity. The haves and the have-nots is getting bitter. There is no middle class in Korea. It's very difficult. It is very difficult to get a job. Even if you go to a good college, like, you have to have money in order to make money, which isn't great. So I think that's why we're seeing the shrinking population size, which is really scary. And this is something that the government is actively trying to fix. So I know that they have, if you have like, the government gives,
Incentives, birth incentives.
birth incentives right now. And then because of that, I think in the past year or two, the numbers have gotten more up. But I think it's just a larger global issue that we're kind of facing. And I don't know specifically what the answer is, but again, it's just, they got to make more babies.
It's like here where you have a child tax credit where somebody
Yeah.
to be like, hey, you give me $7,000, you can claim my kid on your taxes. I'm just like, first of all, not in the mood to commit fraud. Thank you so much. But also claim your own kid. Why are you I've never understood this shit. Why are you calling me to claim your kid? Claim your kid. You get the tax credit. I don't want to commit fraud with you today. The fuck? This is Fed time. This ain't regular. But it's honestly, and this is going to sound crazy, it's honestly a blessing that when you have an economic disparity that is that large, that the birth rate is lower. Because what you have then is you're not trapping people in a further cycle of poverty, and you're not trapping women in a further cycle of poverty. And so where people are paying attention and going, hey, I can't afford to have a child, and your government is allowing you to not have a child, then when you fix the economy, then we will have kids. And I think, and so because, and that's why here, they're getting rid of a lot of birth control to be able to trap people in a cycle of poverty. And so as much as it's awful to see a birth rate declining, that is a huge motivation to the Korean government to try to fix the issues in their economy. Because you give me an incentive, I can, okay, you give me a couple thousand won or whatever, million won a year, I can have a kid. But you have to fix the foundation of our government and the foundation of our society, because for 1,000 years we see what happens when other countries come in and fuck us up. So now there's the way you would defend yourself. You have to fix your country. I hope we're paying attention, but you've met us.
Okay, so we have 10 minutes left, so we'll go quickly.
Yes, friend.
So I have second man syndrome real bad. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
Yes, I know what second lead syndrome is, girl.
So I always find myself betting on the wrong horse. I'm always rooting for the other guy. I wanted to know which K-drama of yours you feel like, man, she should have ended up with that guy. She would have been better.
I mean, what was it? The one with Choi.
Wait, one of the ones on the show?
She's pretty.
She was pretty.
She was pretty.
Oh,
she was pretty.
pretty.
An entire drama.
That's my mom's favorite drama, was She Was Pretty. She'll be like, Jackson. Like,
Jackson. Yes.
She was pretty.
She should have been with him. And I love Park Seo-joon. But in this drama, I was just like, oh my God.
She Was Pretty is the only show I've watched. And I've watched, we've all watched dozens of these fucking shows. You can't count. But She Was Pretty was the only time where I thought the second lead with Siwon actually had a chance. And when she ended up with old boy, I was like, I mean, I get it, but I don't support it.
Yeah. That was it. That's it.
Thank you. Hello, friend.
Hi. To answer my mom's question, I would say Boys Over Flowers.
Oh, yes.
Anyone seen it? Yes. And then I also wanted to shout out Birth of a Beauty. It's about like a
Birth of a
bigger-
Beauty, yes.
Yes.
Ooh.
Like a larger Korean woman who got skinny, but her husband tried to kill her. Like, and frame it, like kind of like a frame.
Was
type
she
of
too
thing.
hard to catch when she got skinny? You rarely see a big bitch getting murdered.
Her car was like drove off a cliff, but he like planned all of that.
Oh,
but
what
I
an evil
did
guy.
want to shout out that K-drama. You should definitely watch it.
What's the name of the show, honey?
Birth of a Beauty.
Birth of a Beauty. I'm watching it. Because there's a C-drama that keeps popping up in my TikTok that's a historical one about a plus-size Chinese woman who is banging everybody. And she's like a woman you can't be like, she's great. But sorry, go ahead.
that I got into K-dramas was actually through K-pop.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite things with it is that they do they really intertwine music into the story.
Yes, the
So,
OSTs.
Now,
Yes.
forgive me, one of my favorite ones is called "Shut Up, Flower Boy Band."
Yes, that was so yeah.
Yes,
Shut up, what?
Shut Up Flower Boy
so
Band.
Shut
It
Up,
was
I
really
love
good.
this.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But yeah, that was one of the ways that I got into it.
Yeah.
Well,
great.
thank you. We
Thank
so on
you.
the podcast, what Christina does is that we have a segment called the Needle Drops.
Yeah.
And so with the show, especially with the show we're watching now, Dynamite Kiss has a lot of great songs on it, like Face to Face and some other songs. And so we Deanna Face to Face, and so she does something called Needle Drops. So every time we talk about a drama, she goes through all the OSTs on the show. Because sometimes you'll watch a show, and I'm just like, what the hell was the name of this song? And so if you like a show, we talk about it. She will always tell you what the song is.
Yeah, and a lot of K-pop artists sing on it, so it's so much fun to kind of like dissect through that. So yeah,
She's very into K-pop. I'm not into K-pop, but also shout out to 90s R&B for the entire K-pop industry.
Okay, I'll make this really quick. I have two questions. The first question is, I actually got my best friend into K-dramas, and the one thing she noticed, the first one I introduced her to was my favorite Guardian, Goblin, Lonely Great God.
Oh,
right?
Goblin,
Yes.
Goblin.
And
Goblin.
one thing she always noticed was the tropes. So I wanted to know what your favorite trope. For her, she hates the white truck of death. Right?
The white
Like,
truck of
white
death.
truck of
That's
doom. What we call it. Where she was like, that white truck of death is coming, right?
Wait, do you listen to our podcast?
No.
So listen, we literally have our tropes listed out, and one of
We
them
have a
is the
trope
white
tracker.
truck of doom.
We call it white truck of death. So we were just
Yes!
I need to get on it. My bad. And then my second question, and this is only if you watch Vicky, I just wanted your opinion on the comments, because if you watch it with the comments on, the comments are wild. Okay, yeah, the comments.
Turn 'em off.
Yeah, people are arguing about stuff.
Fuck
and
that.
I'm just
I don't
like,
know
what
you.
is that?
This is the lights. Turn them off. No.
Okay, so I want to say, to answer that question, what I love about K-pop and K-drama fandom, and Black fandom too, is Twitter and Threads, okay?
Shout out to Threads.
Yeah, so like back in the day, like Game of Thrones, right? It was like Throne Jaw. that was like the thread, on Twitter. I would like look for people. I would look for other people. I needed people's reactions, and the only places where I could like laugh was on Black Twitter. And then when I would look on K-pop and K-drama threads, it was just it just is so funny, the discourse. So I love the comments. We get weird comments sometimes on our socials, but it's fine. It's part of it.
Yeah,
We
they
love
think
it,
I'm
but-
racist and they think she's stupid.
Yeah, so it's great. It's like we love it. We love it so much. But I do love the reactions, and I think that is what really makes this this is why this content is fun, because you have other people to kind of talk to about in the comments, So
Well, because for
anyways,
so long you didn't have anybody to talk to, and then
I
you
know.
looked up and you're like, oh, other people like this? Ah! And so, like, if I'm watching a show, even if she's not watching it, I will text her about it, because she's the only other person I know who watches these shows. But I've gotten some of, like, my male friends into watching them, and they'll start watching, and like, what do you got me watching? I'm like, just finish it.
Oh, and then tropes. So I don't know what my favorite trope is, but the most annoying trope, I just want to say the trope that I hate the most, I hate the amnesia plot. It just like, and I don't want to spoil, Dynamite Kiss already is over, but I'm like going, I know, I hurt people, and when I'm going to be so angry when I get to that part.
Yep.
Why?
It makes no fucking sense. If you're watching Dynamite Kiss, it pops up, you're like, I was in my house going, for who? For what? Why? I'm on a plane just going, if y'all knew how mad I was.
Okay.
But yeah, I can say I hate the amnesia trope. Honestly, my favorite trope is the drunken piggyback. That's my favorite trope, because I am trying to find a wonderful man that I can drink soju with and then jump on his
Or
back.
the new one where Tati in Dynamite Kiss, she piggybacks him after
That's
the fire.
Listen.
I'm like, she is strong.
She is strong.
Okay, she's
she is
strong
kind.
girl. Okay. Next.
Okay. First, I want to fangirl for a second. Don't say I love you. You're so great.
Thank you.
My question, so there was a K-drama, like one of my first that I watched when I was in Hawaii. I cannot find it anywhere on streaming. So do you guys have like a site or sites that if I can't find it on a regular streaming service, I can find K-dramas that aren't?
Okay, so
She knows them sites.
They're like Korean sites, but it's hard to but it's in Korean. You know what I mean?
You have to Google Translate, sis.
I'm willing.
IQIYY. I use KISS, KISS. They don't really have a lot of older ones. And then what is that? Drama Cool? Have you is Drama Cool down? Okay. Okay, yeah. So Drama Cool, what she said, and then KISS. That's
what were you gonna say?
The best bet.
Come on, librarian.
Oh, a librarian.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Finding old dramas is harder though because I've tried it, but
we can't find the first drama I ever watched, and I realized earlier it's probably not called Bluebird.
Yeah.
So,
last question. Oh, she works here.
Hey,
so that was the final question.
She was probably telling us to wrap it up. Shit.
Okay.
Hey,
great.
sis, what's up?
Oh, yes. Oh, we didn't say what the drama. Okay, so we are the co-host of Chasing K-Dramas, the podcast that dissects popular Korean dramas episode by episode.
We get into the characters, themes, and everything in between. I'm your host, Dulcé Sloan. This is my co-host,
Chrissy Choi.
Which is probably...
So we have a panel tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
No, we have a live record tomorrow at
live
10
record.
This is the panel at 1 o'clock.
Yes. We have a live recording of Dynamite Kiss episode 12 at 1 o'clock with our guest, Thought Squad.
Is our
Banya
guest.
will be with us.
And so it's so funny because if you look at our logo, it looks like the letter beads. And the reason our logo looks like this is because I'm a crafter. I don't know if you know about me. I'm a big crafter, and so I made us just randomly Chasing K-Drama bracelets. Yes. And Chrissy was trying to come up with, she was messing around with the logo, and I gave her this bracelet. She was like, oh, I'm going to use it. And so that's how we came up with our logo, is because I made her a bracelet. And I actually was sitting up making bracelets in my hotel room last night because the Lord has not blessed me with a husband and children. So I'm sitting in hotel rooms doing crafts. And so after the panel tomorrow, so we have our own merch because who doesn't? But we're, after the live record tomorrow for episode 12 of Dynamite Kiss, we're going to be selling our merch. We've got tote bags. We've got bonnets.
Hair bands.
Bonnets. So me and my mom make all of our merch. So I was up till 2 a.m. on Tuesday making tote bags. And we have satin pillowcases, satin bonnets, little headbands and stuff, pins,
we have stickers. And we have the bracelets as well. So.
And I make all the bracelets. So we make all of our merch. And I can't wait to employ my child and get child labor.
And then we have a fan club on Substack. It's called Club Sarangis. It's a really fun community, and we just started it back in the fall. It's growing, and you guys should just check it out. But we're at chasingkdramas.com. We're on YouTube. We are on Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. We are constantly updating our social channels. So
yeah, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, and then at 6:30 today at the Hilton, I have a comedy show.
Oh yeah, she has a comedy show, so you should come watch that.
So please come see my stand-up. I want to thank y'all so much for coming. When Hilton told us we were going to be in this big room, I was like, why? And I was so worried that people, as much as I knew people were going to, that the people watched it, you never know who's going to show up. So I wish y'all knew how glad I am that y'all are here.
Yeah.
How excited I am. And I'm wearing makeup, so I cannot tear up. But this is the most black people. Saranghe. This is the most black people I have ever talked. Saranghe.
We should get a photo.
We should get a photo. This is the most black people I've ever talked to about Korean dramas. I could literally cry right now because since I'm 42, since I was 15, I've loved these shows. And all my friends have looked at me like I was insane. But the lady at the beauty supply store has always been very surprised. When I walk in and go, "Annyeonghaseyo," she'll go, "Anya." She said, "Who taught you the Korean language?" And I was like, y'all are everywhere. This isn't a secret language, ma'am. Y'all are literally on the radio.
And
can we take a picture of y'all?
Well, before that, I also want to say for 15-year-old Christina
or
Chrissy, it's a big deal too because it is mind-boggling to me as a Korean American seeing people embrace our content like this. So just thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna do it like the style, when they go to concerts and you do that? Yeah.